The message arrived at 3 in the morning. Admiral Kang Tai-ho stood alone on the bridge of his flagship, the Incheon's pride. The stars outside the viewport were quiet and cold. He had spent 30 years in the Terran Navy, fighting pirates and protecting colony ships. He thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. The holographic display flickered to life. 12 alien figures appeared, each one representing a species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They called themselves the Galaxy Council. They had watched humanity crawl out from Earth and spread across the stars for 50 years. They had laughed at human ships. They had mocked human technology. They had called humans the clever animals behind closed doors. Now they were done laughing. The council speaker, a tall creature with gray skin and 4 eyes, read the verdict. His voice was flat and emotionless. The species known as humanity has been declared a Class Omega threat to galactic peace and stability. All human military assets must be surrendered within 30 standard cycles. All human colonies must accept sterilization protocols. Failure to comply will result in complete species termination. This verdict is final. There will be no appeal. The transmission ended. Tai-ho read the message again. Sterilization protocols. They wanted to end humanity. Not through war, but through slow death. No more children. No more future. Just a quiet extinction while the galaxy watched. He laughed. It was not a happy sound. 6 hours later, every human leader in the galaxy received the same message. On Earth, President Yoon Hana called an emergency session of the United Terran Assembly. The Great Hall in New Seoul was packed with representatives from every human colony. Fear hung in the air like smoke. The alien ambassadors had already fled. Their seats were empty. They knew what was coming. President Yoon walked to the podium. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had led humanity through economic crises and natural disasters. But this was different. This was extinction. She did not look afraid. 30 days, she said. Her voice was calm. They have given us 30 days to die. They expect us to beg. They expect us to kneel. They expect us to accept our end like good little animals. She paused and looked across the assembly. Every eye was on her. They do not know us. She pressed a button on the podium. Behind her, a massive screen displayed the flag of United Earth, a blue planet surrounded by stars. We did not crawl out of the caves to die here. We did not survive ice ages and plagues and world wars to be erased by creatures who have never known struggle. They think we are weak because we are young. They think we are primitive because we still know how to fight. Her voice grew stronger. They are wrong, and we will teach them. The assembly erupted. Representatives shouted and cheered. Some cried, but no one spoke of surrender. Not one voice. On Luna Station, Dr. Beek Minji watched the broadcast from her laboratory. She was 34 years old, one of the brightest weapons researchers in human history. For the past 5 years, she had worked on a secret project. The military called it the Sunbreaker Program. Only 12 people knew it existed. Her assistant, a young man named Lee Woo-jin, stood beside her. His face was pale. Doctor, the Council has 40,000 warships. We have maybe 5,000. The math does not work. Minji smiled. It was the smile of someone who knew something others did not. The Council does not understand our math, Woo-jin. They evolved in peaceful environments. They solved problems through negotiation and submission. We evolved on Earth. She turned to face him. Earth is a death world. Everything on our planet learned to kill or be killed. We are the descendants of survivors. We do not calculate odds. We find ways to win. She walked to a sealed vault at the back of the laboratory. Her handprint unlocked it. Inside sat 3 warheads, each one no bigger than a human torso. They glowed with soft blue light. These will change everything, she said quietly. The Council has never seen weapons like these. They do not even have the science to understand them. Woo-jin stared at the warheads. What do? They make stars scream. Far away on the edge of Council space, Captain Oh Ji-hoon received his orders. He commanded a small ship called the Silent Wind with a crew of 40. They were ghost soldiers who did not officially exist. Their job was to go where regular military could not. His orders were simple: enter Council territory, gather intelligence, and find weaknesses. Ji-hoon gathered his crew in the ship's small meeting room. They were young and old, men and women, all of them volunteers. All of them knew they might not come back. The Council thinks they can scare us into surrender, Ji-hoon said. They do not understand that fear is our oldest friend. We grew up with monsters in the dark. We learned to hunt them. He looked at each face. We are going into their territory. We are going to learn their secrets. And we are going to find the cracks in their perfect little empire. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Han Sora, spoke up. What if we find nothing? What if there are no cracks? Ji-hoon smiled. Every empire has cracks, Lieutenant. The bigger they are, the deeper the cracks go. The Council has ruled for 10,000 years. That is a lot of time to make enemies. The silent wind departed that night, slipping into the void between stars. Back on Earth, General Park Sun-woo descended into a bunker that had been sealed for 50 years. The walls were thick enough to survive nuclear strikes. The air was cold and stale. He walked past rows of sleeping soldiers, veterans in cryogenic storage, waiting for a war they hoped would never come. There were 10,000 of them, the best humanity had ever produced. At the end of the bunker, he found a console covered in dust. He wiped it clean and entered a code that only 3 people in the galaxy knew. The screen lit up with 2 words: Prometheus Protocols. Wake them up, he said to the technicians behind him. Wake them all up, and activate every hidden shipyard, every dormant satellite, every weapon we have buried in the dark corners of this galaxy. His eyes were hard. The Council wants war. They will get one. But it will not be the war they expected. Across human space, lights flickered on in places that had been dark for decades. Ships that were supposed to be decommissioned powered up their engines. Factories that were listed as abandoned began to produce weapons. Humanity did not prepare for war. Humanity had been preparing for war since the moment they reached the stars. They just never told anyone. The Council had given them 30 days. They would only need 7. The Galaxy Council waited for humanity to surrender. They waited for crying ambassadors and desperate pleas. They waited for the small, primitive species to accept their fate. What they got was silence. 7 days passed. No transmissions. No negotiations. No surrender. The Council grew confused. Their species had conquered 11 civilizations before. Every single one had begged for mercy within hours of receiving the verdict. Humans were supposed to be the weakest of them all. High Chancellor Marath, leader of the Council's founding species, called an emergency meeting. His body was long and serpentine, covered in iridescent scales. He had lived for 300 years. He had never felt uncertainty until now. Where are their ambassadors? He demanded. Why have they not contacted us? Admiral Veleth of the Keth Dominion laughed. He was a massive creature, built like a tank, with thick armor plates covering his body. They are hiding, Chancellor. Like prey animals. When our fleet arrives, they will scatter and die. This is not worth our concern. Morath was not so sure. He had read the reports on humanity. They were a strange species. They came from a planet filled with predators and disasters. They had survived things that would have destroyed most civilizations. And they had reached the stars in record time. Send scouts, Morath ordered. I want to know what they are doing. The scouts never returned. Deep in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, the Prometheus protocols were in full effect. General Park Sun-woo stood in the command center of a hidden station that did not exist on any map. Around him, thousands of soldiers moved with quiet efficiency. Status report, he said. Colonel Yu Jung-woo pulled up a holographic display. Sir, all 12 hidden shipyards are now operational. We have added 800 new warships to our fleet in the past week. The cryo veterans are awake and reporting for duty. And the orbital defense grid is at 90% activation.
Sun-woo nodded.
What about the special projects? Dr. Beek Mingi reports that the Sunbreaker warheads are ready for deployment. We have 47 of them. Jung-woo hesitated. Sir, I have to ask, what exactly do those warheads do? Sunwoo turned to face him. Have you ever seen a star collapse, Colonel? No, sir, you will. On Luna Station, Minji worked without sleep. Her team of scientists and engineers had grown from 12 to 200. They were building weapons that the Council could not imagine. The Sunbreaker was just the beginning. Her newest project sat on a table in front of her, a small device that looked like a metal sphere. She called it the Whisper. It was designed to hack into enemy ship systems and turn them against each other. The Council had never developed cyber weapons. They considered such things dishonorable. Humans did not care about honor. They cared about winning. Dr. Wujin said, running into the lab. We received a transmission from the Silent Wind. Captain O wants to speak with you directly. Minji activated the secure channel. Jihoon's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired, but excited. Doctor, we found something, he said. Something big. Tell me. Jihoon leaned closer to the camera. The Council is not united. 3 of their species, the Tarani, the Vel, and the Sereth, were not willing members. They were conquered thousands of years ago. The Council destroyed their homeworlds and forced them into submission. They have been slaves ever since. Mingi felt her heart beat faster. Are they still angry? More than angry. They hate the Council with everything they have. They just never had the power to fight back. Jihoon smiled. Until now. Can we contact them? I already have. The Tarani are ready to talk. They want to meet with a human representative. Someone with authority. Minji immediately contacted President Yoon. Within hours. Ambassador Choi Do-yeon was on a fast ship heading toward the Tarani border. He was young for a diplomat, only 32 years old. But he had a gift for making people trust him. The meeting took place on a dead moon in neutral space. Do-yeon arrived alone, unarmed. He found 3 Tarani waiting for him. They were small creatures with large eyes and delicate bodies. They looked fragile, but their eyes burned with old hatred. You were brave to come alone, the lead Tarani said. Or stupid. Oh, Do-yeon smiled. Maybe both. But I am here because I believe we share a common enemy. The Council destroyed our civilization 10,000 years ago. They killed billions of our people. They turned us into servants. The Tarani's voice trembled with rage. We have waited for someone strong enough to challenge them. Are you that someone? I cannot promise victory, Do-yeon said honestly. But I can promise this. We will never stop fighting. We will never surrender. And if we fall, we will drag them down with us. The Tarani looked at each other. Then the leader did something unexpected. He laughed. Your species is insane, he said. Absolutely insane, extended a thin hand. We will help you. The Vel will join us. Perhaps even the Sereth. It is time for the Council to learn what it feels like to be hunted. Back in human space, Admiral Kong Tai-ho prepared his fleet for the coming battle. He had 4,000 warships now, each one equipped with the latest weapons. It was still not enough to match the Council's 40,000. But Tai-ho did not plan to fight fair. He called his captains together for a final briefing. Commander Shin Yun-ji was among them, a young woman with sharp eyes and a reputation for impossible maneuvers. She had once flown a damaged fighter through an asteroid field while being chased by pirates. She did not know the meaning of fear. The Council expects us to line up like good soldiers and fight honorably, Tai-ho said. They expect neat formations and predictable tactics. They expect us to die with dignity. He looked at his officers. We are not going to do any of that. He activated a tactical display showing the Titan system, the first place the Council fleet would enter human space. We are going to fight dirty. We are going to cheat. We are going to use every trick our ancestors learned in 10,000 years of killing each other. The Council has forgotten how to be afraid. His voice dropped to a cold whisper. We are going to remind them. Yunji studied the display. Sir, there is a debris field near Titan's largest moon. If we position our ships correctly, we could use it as cover. Tai-ho smiled. Exactly what I was thinking, Commander. The Council does not fight in debris fields. They consider it beneath them, then they will learn. Yanji's eyes gleamed. the hard way. The human fleet moved into position. Hidden among asteroids and debris, they waited like wolves in the shadows. The Council fleet was approaching. 40,000 ships, confident in their victory. They had no idea what was coming. On Earth, President Yoon addressed the people one final time before the battle. Tomorrow, we face the greatest threat our species has ever known. But we have faced extinction before. Ice ages, plagues, wars, we survived them all. Not because we were the strongest or the fastest, but because we refused to die. She raised her fist. Let the galaxy watch. Let them see what happens when you threaten humanity's children. We do not beg. We do not run. We fight. And we win. The message spread across every human colony. Soldiers checked their weapons. Pilots climbed into their ships. Civilians prepared shelters. Humanity was ready. The war was about to begin. The Council. Armada emerged from faster-than-light travel like a storm rolling across the sky. 40,000 warships stretched across the void, their lights blinking like angry stars. It was the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. A force designed not just to defeat humanity, but to erase them from existence. Grand Admiral Velith stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. He was the greatest military commander in the Keth species' history. He had conquered 11 civilizations. He had never lost a battle. He looked at the tactical display and saw the human fleet hiding near Titan's moon. 3,000 ships. Maybe 4, he laughed. This is what they send against us? This is their great defense? He turned to his officers. Order all ships to advance. Standard conquest formation. This will be over within hours. The Council fleet moved forward like a wave of death. Their formation was perfect, each ship in its proper place. They had practiced this maneuver for centuries. They knew exactly what to do. That was the problem. Admiral Kong Taiho watched from the bridge of the Inshan's Pride. His ship was hidden in a dense cluster of asteroids, invisible to enemy sensors. Around him, 4,000 human warships waited in silence. They are using the 7th Conquest Formation, Lieutenant Commander Ruhan said. Exactly as predicted. Taiho nodded. The Council has not changed their tactics in 800 years. Why would they? Nothing has ever challenged them. He activated the fleet-wide communication channel. All ships, this is Admiral Kang. Remember your training. Remember why we fight. And remember, the enemy expects us to be afraid. He paused. Show them how wrong they are. Execute Operation Broken Mirror. The human fleet exploded into motion, but not forward. Not in any direction the Council expected. Ships scattered in seemingly random patterns, breaking into small groups of 5 or 6. They dove into debris fields, asteroid clusters, and the shadows of moons. To the Council's tactical computers, it looked like chaos, like panic. Velith watched with confusion. What are they doing? Their formation has collapsed. Perhaps they are retreating, Admiral, one of his officers suggested. No. Velith studied the display. Something was wrong. They are doing something else. But what? He never got the answer. Commander Shin Yoonji leads strike group. 7 through the debris field at speeds that should have been impossible. Her ship, the Soul's Vengeance, twisted and rolled between spinning chunks of rock and metal. Behind her, 5 other destroyers followed her path exactly. Commander, her pilot said, voice tense, the debris is too dense. We should slow down. Negative. Yangji's eyes were fixed on her target, the Eternal Dominion, Velith's flagship. The Council does not fight in debris fields. They will not follow us. That gives us our path. She was right. The Council ships stopped at the edge of the debris field. Their tactical doctrine forbade entering such dangerous territory. It was considered suicide. For them, it was. For humans. It was Tuesday. Yoonji's strike group burst from the debris field like bullets from a gun. They emerged directly behind the Eternal Dominion, in its blind spot. Council ships were designed with most of their weapons facing forward. They never expected enemies to attack from behind. All ships, fire everything, Yanji commanded. 6 human destroyers unleashed their full arsenal. Missiles streaked through space. Energy beams cut through the void. The Eternal Dominion's shields flickered and failed. Its engines exploded. Its bridge, Deco. Grand Admiral Velith, conqueror of 11 species, died without understanding what had happened. His last thought was confusion. His language did not even have a word for what Yunji had done. Humans called it an ambush. The Council called it impossible. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human ships appeared from impossible angles, struck hard, and vanished back into cover. They used asteroids as shields. They turned debris into weapons, pushing chunks of metal into enemy formations. They did things that no tactical computer could predict because no tactical computer was programmed for insanity. Captain Park Minho commanded a single frigate called the Dagen. His ship was small, barely armed. But he had an idea. He flew directly at a council cruiser, weapons blazing. The cruiser's captain laughed and prepared to destroy the tiny ship. But Minho was not attacking. He was distracting. At the last moment, the Dagen pulled up sharply. Behind the cruiser, hidden in its sensor shadow, 3 human bombers appeared. They had been drifting silently, engines, cold, waiting for this moment. The bombers launched their payloads. 3 Sunbreaker warheads hit the cruiser simultaneously. What happened next made every species in the galaxy remember why they should fear humanity. The warheads did not simply explode. They created a miniature sun. For 3 seconds, a star was born in the middle of the Council fleet. The light was so bright that it overloaded sensors across the entire battlefield. The heat was so intense that 12 Council ships simply vaporized. When the light faded, there was nothing left but dust. On the Inchin's Pride, Admiral Taiho watched the destruction with grim satisfaction. Staju. S report. Sir Lieutenant Commander Ru said, voice shaking, the Council has lost 8,000 ships. We have lost 412. Continue the attack. The battle lasted 7 hours. By the end, the Council fleet was broken. 23,000 ships destroyed or disabled. The survivors fled in panic, their perfect formations forgotten. They had come to exterminate a primitive species. They left as prey running from predators. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On the Council homeworlds, leaders stared at reports in disbelief. This was not supposed to happen. Humans were weak. Humans were young. Humans were supposed to die quietly. High Chancellor Morath received the casualty reports in his private chambers. His scales had gone pale. How? He whispered. How did they do this? His advisor, a small creature named Telek, spoke carefully. Chancellor, the humans did not fight like any species we have encountered. They did not follow rules. They did not respect traditions. They fought like what? Telek swallowed. Like animals, Chancellor. Like creatures who have nothing to lose. Morath closed his eyes. He had made a terrible mistake. He had declared war on a species born from a death world. A species that had evolved through constant violence. A species that did not understand surrender. Send more ships, he ordered. Send everything we have. We must end this quickly. But it was already too late. On Earth, crowds gathered in every city to celebrate the victory. President Yoon watched the celebrations from her office window. She did not smile. This is just the beginning, she said to General Park Sun-woo, who stood beside her. They will come back. With more ships, more weapons. Sun-woo nodded. And we will be ready. But Madam President, there is something else. Our intelligence officer, Captain O, reports that the Turani and Vel rebellions have begun. The Council is now fighting on multiple fronts. Yoon finally allowed herself a small smile. Good. Let them feel what it is like to be surrounded by enemies. She turned away from the window. Prepare the second armada. It is time to stop defending, ma'am. The Council wanted war, General. They will get war. But not here. Not on our territory. Her eyes were cold and hard. We are taking the fight to them. Far away on the edge of Council space, Fleet Admiral No Yuna received her orders. She commanded the 2nd Armada 2,000 ships fresh from the hidden shipyards. Her mission was simple. Attack. Set course for the Keth homeworld, she ordered. Maximum speed. Her officers looked at each other nervously. Admiral, the Keth homeworld is deep in enemy territory. We will be surrounded, No smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Exactly. They will not expect us to be so stupid. She leaned back in her chair. Let us show them how humans fight. Not for survival. Not for defense. We fight to win. And we are just getting started. The 2nd Armada jumped to faster-than-light travel. The hunt had begun. 3 months into the war, the galaxy learned to fear a new word. Human Fleet Admiral No Yuna brought that fear to the Keth homeworld. Her 2nd Armada tore through Council defenses like fire through paper. The Keth had never been invaded. Their world had been safe for 10,000 years. They had forgotten what it felt like to be prey, Yuna reminded them. Her fleet emerged from faster than light. Traveled directly above the Keth capital city. 20 million people lived there. The Keth military scrambled to respond, but they were too slow, too confused. They had spent so long being conquerors that they had forgotten how to defend. Yuna opened a communication. Channeled to the planet below. Her face appeared on every screen in the city. People of Keth, she said calmly, your leaders declared war on humanity. They threatened to sterilize our species, to kill our children, to erase our future. She paused. Now we are here, and you have a choice. The Keth watched in terrified silence. Surrender, and you will live. We do not wish to harm civilians. We are not like your council. We do not murder innocents. Her voice hardened. But if you resist, if you fight, then we will burn everything. Your cities, your monuments, your history. Everything the Keth have built will become ash. She leaned forward. You have 1 hour to decide. Choose wisely. The hour passed in chaos. The Kith military wanted to fight. Their leaders wanted to resist. But the common people had seen the reports from the White Battle of Titan's Gate. They had seen what human weapons could do. They surrendered. Yuna accepted their surrender. Out! Human soldiers landed on the planet and secured key locations. They did not loot. They did not kill. They treated prisoners with respect. The Keth could not understand it. Why do you not punish us? A captured Keth, General asked Yuna. We tried to destroy your species. Yuna looked at him with cold eyes. Your leaders tried to destroy us. Your soldiers followed orders. You are not our enemy. She gestured toward space. The Council is our enemy, and we are going to tear them apart. You can either help us or stay out of our way. The general stared at her for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change his species forever. What do you need us to do? News of the Keth's surrender spread across the galaxy. 3 more Council species surrendered within weeks. They had seen what happened when humans offered mercy. They had also seen what happened when humans did not. The Council was fracturing. On the Tarani homeworld, Captain Ojihun watched the first public celebration in 10,000 years. The Tarani had risen against their Council overseers. With human weapons and human training, they had taken back their planet in a single day. The creatures who had lived as slaves now danced in their streets. Ambassador Boy Doyon stood beside Jihun. He had negotiated the official alliance between humanity and the Tarani. The terms were simple freedom in exchange for military cooperation. They are so happy, Dojon said quietly. I never realized how much they hated the Council. 10,000 years of oppression, 10,000 years of being told they were inferior, and now they are free. He watched a young Tarani child wave a homemade flag. We gave them something the Council never could. Hope. The Vel Rebellion followed days later. Then the Sarith. 3 species, once loyal members of the Council, turned against their masters. The Council's perfect empire was crumbling from within. High Chancellor Marath grew desperate in his chambers on Ethos Prime, the Council's capital world. He met with his remaining advisors. Only 5 species still supported him. The others had either surrendered to humanity or were fighting their own rebellions. "We must use the bioweapon," Morith said. His voice was cold. "It is our only option." His advisors shifted uncomfortably. The bioweapon had been designed centuries ago, created to target specific species genetics. It had never been used. It was considered too terrible to final. "Chancellor," one advisor said carefully, "if we use it against the humans, every species in the galaxy will turn against us. They will see us as monsters." "They already see us as losers," Morith snapped. "I would rather be a monster than a corpse." He activated his personal terminal. "Release the weapon. Target all human colony worlds. Let them die slowly, watching their bodies fail them." The bioweapon was released through Council agents hidden in human space. Within days, people on 3 colony worlds fell sick. The disease attacked human DNA, causing organs to fail one by one. It was a cruel death designed to cause maximum suffering. On Luna Station, Dr. Beekminji received the first samples of the disease. She worked for 72 hours without sleep, studying the weapon that was killing her people. Her eyes were red. Her hands shook from exhaustion, but she did not stop. "It is a masterpiece of evil," she told President Yoon during a secure call. "The most sophisticated biological weapon I have ever seen. Designed specifically for human genetics. No other species would be harmed. Can you stop it?" Yoon asked. Minji smiled. It was a tired smile, but triumphant. "Madam President, humans have been fighting diseases since we lived in caves. We have conquered plagues that killed half our population. This weapon is advanced, yes, but it is still just a disease." She held up a small vial. "And I have the cure. We will begin mass production immediately. Within 2 weeks, every human in the galaxy will be vaccinated." The Council's ultimate weapon became meaningless in 14 days. When Morith learned that the bioweapon had failed, something broke inside him. He had been so certain of victory, so confident that humans would die as all primitive species should die. Now he was watching his empire fall apart. President Yoon delivered humanity's response to the bioweapon attack. Her message was broadcast across every frequency in the galaxy. "Chancellor Marath," she said, her voice sharp as steel, "you tried to kill us with disease. You attacked our civilians, our children, our elderly." She paused. "We have neutralized your weapon. Your attack failed. But we will not forgive. We will not forget." She leaned closer to the camera. "You wanted to see what humanity is capable of when we are truly angry. Now you will see. Operation Hammerfall is authorized. God help you, Chancellor. Because we will not." Operation Hammerfall was humanity's final offensive. Admiral Kong Taeho led the combined fleet 4,000 human ships, 2,000 Turani ships, 1,000 Vel ships, and 300 Sereth ships. Together, they formed the largest allied force ever assembled against the Council. Their target was Ethos Prime. The journey took 3 weeks. They fought through 7 defensive fleets. They destroyed space stations and orbital platforms. They pushed forward with relentless determination. General Park Sun-woo commanded the ground forces. 15 million human soldiers stood ready to invade the Council's homeworld. They were not alone. Turani warriors, freed slaves who had spent centuries waiting for revenge, fought beside them. Vel technicians, brilliant engineers, who had been forced to build weapons for their oppressors, now turned those weapons against their former masters. The Council's remaining loyal species tried to stop them. They failed. On the eve of the final battle, Admiral Taeho addressed his fleet one last time. "Tomorrow, we end this. Not just for humanity, not just for Earth. We end this for every species the Council has oppressed. Every civilization they have destroyed. Every child who grew up under their tyranny." He looked at his crewhuman, Turani, Vel, Sereth. "Tomorrow, we show the galaxy what happens when free people stand together." Commander Shinyonji stood at attention on the bridge. She had fought in every major battle of the war. She had lost friends. She had watched ships burn, but she had never wavered. "Admiral," she said quietly, "it has been an honor." Taiho nodded. "The honor is mine, Commander. Now let us finish what they started." The fleet jumped to. Faster than light travel, the final battle was about to begin. The sky above Ethos Prime burned. The Allied fleet emerged from faster than light travel in perfect formation. 7,000 warships faced the Council's last defense. 12,000 vessels gathered around their capital world. It was the largest battle in galactic history, and everyone in the galaxy was watching. Admiral Kong Taiho stood on the bridge of the Inchin's Pride, now battle-scarred and worn, but still fighting. He looked at the orbital station called the Throne of Ethos. For 10,000 years, it had been the symbol of Council power. Today it would fall. "All ships," he said into the fleet-wide channel, "begin the attack." The void erupted in fire. Energy beams crisscrossed the darkness. Missiles streaked between ships like angry fireflies. Explosions bloomed in silence, each one marking another death, another sacrifice. The Council fought with desperate fury, knowing this was their last stand. But humanity fought harder, Commander. Shinyonji led Strike Group 7 through the heart of the enemy formation. Her ship, the Soul's Vengeance, had been repaired dozens of times. It was more scar than ship now, but it still flew. And Yunji still fought, Commander, her pilot shouted. 3 enemy cruisers closing on our position. Yunji did not hesitate. "All ships, follow my lead. We are going through them, through them, through them." The strike group accelerated directly at the enemy cruisers. At the last moment, they split apart, each destroyer finding a gap between the larger ships. They were so close that they scraped against enemy hulls. So close that they could see the shocked faces of alien officers through their viewports. Then they opened fire from inside the enemy formation. The cruisers, designed to fight enemies at a distance, could not track targets so close. They shot each other trying to hit the human ships. All 3 cruisers died. The strike group lost only 1 ship. That was how humans fought. Not with overwhelming force. Not with superior numbers. With creativity. With madness. With a refusal to accept the rules that everyone else followed. On the throne of Ethos, High Chancellor Moroth watched his fleet dying. His scales had gone gray with fear. His advisors were either fleeing or begging for his orders. He had none to give. "How?" he whispered. "How are they doing this?" A young aide, trembling beside him, answered, "Chancellor, we studied human history. We thought we understood them, but we only looked at their science, their technology, their governments." She swallowed. "We did not look at their wars. Their wars? Chancellor, humans have been fighting each other for their entire existence. Every generation, they created new ways to kill. New strategies, new weapons. They refined the art of destruction for 10,000 years." Her voice broke. "We thought we were the apex predators of this galaxy. We were wrong. They are. They have always been." The battle raged for 12 hours. Slowly, inevitably, the Council fleet was pushed back. Ship by ship, they fell. The Allied forces, human and rebel species together, advanced without mercy. Admiral Taiho personally led the assault on the throne of Ethos. Human boarding parties stormed the station, fighting through corridors that had never known violence. They found Council soldiers who surrendered immediately. They found politicians hiding in closets. They found servants and slaves who cheered as the humans entered. Taiho found Morith in the Council chamber itself. The High Chancellor sat alone on his throne, a massive chair designed to intimidate visitors. He looked small now, old, broken. Admiral King Moreth said, his voice weak, "You have won. I offer my unconditional surrender. Spare my people. Spare my world." Taiho walked slowly across the chamber. His boots echoed on the ancient floor. He stopped directly in front of the throne and looked down at the creature who had tried to exterminate his species. You declared war on us, Taiho said quietly. You gave us 30 days to accept extinction. You tried to kill our children. You released a bioweapon against our civilians. He leaned forward. And now you beg. Morith's scales rippled with fear. We did not understand. We thought you were weak. We thought you would surrender, please. Show mercy. Taiho was silent for a long moment. Then he activated his communication device. His face appeared on every screen in the galaxy, every planet, every ship, every station. Billions of beings watched as the human admiral delivered humanity's final judgment. Chancellor Morith, you asked for mercy, but mercy must be earned. Your council has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. In that time, you have conquered dozens of species. You have committed genocide. You have enslaved entire civilizations. You have declared yourselves gods. Taiho's voice grew cold. You are not gods. You are bullies. And bullies only understand one thing: strength. He stepped back from the throne. We do not accept your surrender, Chancellor. We accept your dissolution. The Galaxy Council is over. Its laws are void. Its treaties are meaningless. Its power is broken. He paused. But we will not destroy you. We will not enslave you. We are not like you. Morith stared at him in confusion. Then what will you do? We will give you something you never gave anyone else. A choice. Taiho turned to address the galaxy. Every species is free. Every world is independent. No one will rule you. No one will threaten you. You will decide your own futures. He looked back at Morith. As for you, Chancellor, you will stand trial. You and every council leader who authorized our extinction. You will answer for your crimes, not to us. To the species you have oppressed, let them judge you. The war ended not with fire but with justice. 1 year later, the galaxy was transformed. The new Galactic Compact was established, a voluntary alliance of free species. There was no Supreme Council, no dominant power. Every member had an equal voice. Humans helped write the charter, but they did not lead. They had learned from Earth's history that power corrupts. They chose partnership over dominion. Admiral Kang Taiho retired to a small farm on New Korea, a colony world with rolling green hills and quiet forests. He spent his days growing vegetables and watching the stars. Sometimes, children from the local village came to hear his stories. He told them about the war, about sacrifice, about why peace was worth fighting for. Dr. Beek Mingi became the first director of the Interspecies Medical Initiative. She led teams of scientists from a dozen species, working together to cure diseases and improve lives. The bioweapon that was meant to kill humanity became the foundation for treatments that saved millions. Captain Oh Ji-hoon accepted a position as humanity's first ambassador to the Terani homeworld. He lived among them, learned their language, and helped them rebuild their civilization. They considered him family, Commander Shin Yenji, who took command of the new peacekeeping fleet, a joint force designed to protect the weak from the strong. She trained officers from every species, teaching them the human way of war. Not to conquer, she told them. To defend. To protect. That is what makes us different. Ambassador Choi Do-yeon wrote the histories of the war, ensuring that future generations would remember. He traveled the galaxy, collecting stories from every species, human and alien alike. He wanted them to understand that freedom was not given. It was earned. President Yoon Hana served 2 more terms before retiring. Her final speech was broadcast acro. SS the Compact. When the Council declared war on humanity, they expected us to die. They did not understand that death is not something we fear. We were born from a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice and fire, plague and famine, war and disaster. We survived each other. She smiled softly. They called us primitive. They called us weak. They called us animals. But we showed them what those animals could do when threatened. She paused, looking at something beyond the camera, beyond the present moment. Let this be a lesson to the galaxy. Humanity does not seek war. We do not want conquest. We want to live in peace, to raise our children, to explore the stars. But if you threaten us, if you try to harm what we love, we will answer. And our answer will be terrible." Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. "Do not wake the humans. We do not forgive. We do not forget. And we never, ever surrender." The message ended. Across the galaxy, on 1,000 worlds, beings of every shape and size remembered those words. They told stories of the small species from the death world called Earth. They spoke of ships that flew through debris fields, of soldiers who laughed at impossible odds, of leaders who chose justice over revenge, and they spoke of a simple truth that the Council had learned too late. Humanity was not the weakest species in the galaxy. They were the most dangerous. And now, they were free. The stars had never seemed so bright.